So if you need more time, go ahead and pause the video. And the move here is bishop d5 exclam. He's trying to stop this queen defending the knight idea. And obviously, there's a lot of pressure on my knight. So I really have to trade. And now he takes the knight. So opposite color bishops are always good when you're attacking. And this is exactly the strategy he is using here. So we trade a pair of rooks. And now, again, I have to deal with all of these threats. My pawn on g7 is weak. He's about to open up my king and further with f6. And the queen may just come in to checkmate me. So initially I was thinking maybe I can just block off his rook. But then there is this tactic. Rook takes f3. Very annoying. Obviously, if pawn takes, simply mate. So, okay, I have to bite the bullet, play bishop f7, and hope for the best. But I think objectively, white's position is significantly better. He plays the right move, queen f4, with dual threats, hitting the d-pawn and getting ready to attack, or maybe even f6. And I don't have much of a choice. I take the pawn, hoping to at least activate my rook. And here, my young opponent finally makes a mistake. He could have won the game with a very clever idea. Instead, he plays very logical bishop takes pawn, hitting my queen with a tempo. But instead, he had a much better move. So if you want to see if you can figure it out, go ahead and pause the video. It's white to move and win. All right, so let's try to figure this out ourselves. So queen can't move to g5 just yet because the bishop is hanging. So bishop takes d4 was a very viable idea that he played. But the move that he really could have played is f6 exclam, opening things up. Obviously, taken here is suicidal. I'm simply going to get checkmated no matter what. So my idea during the game was to play g6 with the idea to meet queen h6 with queen f8. And it looks like black is holding on. Any endgame is better than before. You know, black should be able to hold them. But here there is tactics. Can you find the move here for white that keeps the queen out of f8 square? And the move is bishop d6 exclam. Now, this is the move that wins the game for white. I actually saw this during the game, and I was sort of having high hopes, kind of last resort, this move g5, this intermezzo move. But in reality, this move fails due to a really cool backwards move. This is perhaps the move that my opponent missed. Queen c1 exclam. Just getting out of the way and telling me, you know what? Your queen has no good squares because if you take the bishop, the following is going to happen. Check. If you go to the h-file, queen g7 is simply mate. Another check. And this is the key check. And my position is collapsing. If I play bishop here, he can check and then queen. It's game over. And if I make a run for it, well, obviously he can pick up the bishop. Mate threat with the passer. I'm basically down the rook and getting checkmated. Very unpleasant position. So, do I have any defense after queen c1? Well, you may say I can probably play queen a5. Right? I have to stop queen takes pawn. But this is only a temporary solution. c5, and that's it. There is no way I can stop queen takes g5 followed with mate. Wow, what a cool tactic, but not a simple one. So he played the natural-looking move, bishop takes d4. White is still better, by the way, but I have now a really cool defensive idea. So I drop back queen f8. If he ever plays f6, I'm simply going to play g6. And here he plays a really interesting move, queen e5, to paralyze my queen. And his idea is actually to activate the rook, to try to sacrifice on the a8. So it's a deflection idea. If I take, then queen takes g7 mate. But I had an idea up my sleeve. This is move 36. I am in time pressure, but thankfully being against the ropes, I find the only defensive idea here is rook takes pawn, rook a1, and there is only one move here that saves the game for black, but one move is enough. Let's see if you can find it. And the move here is an exchange sacrifice. Rook takes, bishop exclam, queen takes, and the final move, queen c8. Black is going to get one of these pawns, and white has no way of breaking through. Black just has way too many pawns. So this was my idea, and finally I could breathe with ease. So the following happens. He simplifies into the endgame. Takes, takes, rook c8, clever move. So the idea is that he's going to go rook c7, hitting both of my pawns. But I find a clever antidote. Bishop f7 and king g6. I'm going to get this pawn traded and get it back. Who cares about the b7 pawn? And now it's a theoretical draw. If we take away all of these pawns, it's also a theoretical draw. So that's exactly what I wanted to do. This is a very good endgame principle. If you know a theoretical draw you can reach, always go for it, because there is absolutely no way you can lose if you already know that you can draw the position. So king and bishop against king and rook is a theoretical draw. So h4 and g3 exclam, just forget about those pawns altogether. And now the key defensive idea is you got to keep the king in the opposite color corner of the bishop. So if you have a light square bishop, you want to be on the dark corner, like h8. If you have a dark square bishop, then you want to be in the light square corner. So that's all. So basically, I use this idea to make a draw. So I'm kind of waiting for him to make some advancements, and I go in the corner right away because I'm not afraid of anything. If he ever checks me, bishop g8, king g6 is stalemate. So he tries to dance around, doesn't really work. Again, if he checks me from this side, bishop h7, king f7 is stalemate. So he finally decided to call it a day, play king g6, and now it's stalemate. Wow, what a game. I was pretty much on the ropes and even losing at one point, but somehow found, the idea to sacrifice an exchange and make a draw. But definitely watch out for Jeffrey Xiong, as he's a very promising junior, again, under 14, and already over 2,500 USCF. Thank you, and goodbye.